Do women need different pre-workouts than men? Powher joins the ranks of brands like Fitmiss and Strong Girl in an effort to bolster the not especially popular female pre-workout market. This product promises powerful energy, superior focus, and greater stamina. So what's in it and what does it do? This is Nick at Barbend.com, wearing a blazer for once, just trying to class up this gym a little bit. So today I'm going to be talking about the taste, the ingredients, the potential effects you can maybe expect from this product, and the price, some other pros and cons to help you decide if this is the right product for you. Now, if you want to see if this landed on my full list of the best pre-workouts on the market, which includes the best pre-workouts for women, make sure you Google that full roundup with Barbend plus best pre-workouts. But for now, let's find out what this pink lemonade flavor tastes like. Well, you know, given all the branding and marketing, something was telling me that this was going to be a naturally flavored product, but actually it contains sucralose, the artificial sweetener also called Splenda. And when I saw that, I started to look forward to it because I knew they were really trying their best to make a tasty flavor. So when I mixed 1 scoop of the pink lemonade flavor with 1 cup of water as instructed, the smell of the product smells a lot like cranberry or grapefruit, like a very tart sort of flavor. But what it actually tastes like when it's mixed in with the water and I drank it is like Swedish fish, like raspberry flavored candy. I was expecting a sour aftertaste. I guess I could sort of, if I really thought about it, taste a little bit of lemon in there, but honestly, more than anything, it's raspberry candy. So I enjoy it, just don't expect something that tastes like pink lemonade. So Powher is owned by Ultimate Life Limited. It's a supplement company based in England, and they claim that this is the first pre-workout on the market to be truly specific to women, which is a bit of an unusual claim because, as I mentioned, there are plenty of other pre-workouts on the market that do cater toward women, although Powher does acknowledge that, saying that there are sister brands out there who are claiming to be for women, but actually they just take the formulations for men and just slap for women on the tub. So what is so different about this product? I think there are about like 3 things that I think are particularly, emphasized as being for women with this product. Number 1 is the amount of caffeine, because this has about 100 milligrams of caffeine, which is roughly what you'll get in 1 small cup of coffee. Now, there are lots of pre-workouts out there that I have tried that have like about 350, sometimes even 400 milligrams of caffeine, which is like the amount in like almost 4 cups of coffee, right? Now, if you are a very large man or someone with a lot of muscle mass or like a lot of weight, that might be tolerable. If you're a 5'3" woman, maybe not so much. So one thing that is relatively common among women's pre-workouts and in the other women's pre-workouts that I've seen, so they emphasize on not using as much caffeine as a lot of the bigger hitters in the industry, so that like women and anyone of a lighter body weight are able to tolerate it a little bit more easily. Another thing with this is that they do not like the fact that some pre-workouts offer a big hit of energy and then you kind of crash afterwards. So to that end, there's not that much caffeine, but also there are some very interesting, weird ingredients in this product that even I have never seen before that claim to be able to sustain that effect to help to minimize that sort of energy crash, which is really interesting. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. Finally, there's no creatine in this product, which is something that Powher really thinks is bad news for women. Creatine, very strongly linked to power output. It is also pretty well known for drawing more water into the muscles to help them look a bit fuller. Something a lot of guys like, something that some women don't like so much. Now, I would never say a woman should not take creatine because big muscles are cool, better power is cool. But of course, some say that it has a bit of a softening effect of the muscles. It makes you look a bit less lean, a bit less hard. It's really pretty subjective, but in Powher's opinion, this is something women do not want, and that's why there's no creatine in this product. So those are the main points I wanted to cover before I dive into the ingredients, and there's a lot to talk about these ingredients. So let's get started. So, the main event. What are the ingredients? What are the effects? So I'm going to start with the easier ingredients first, the ones that you're more likely to see in other competing pre-workouts. This has a very big focus on focus. So there's 2 grams of taurine, 2.5 grams of taurine actually, and normally you just get 1 gram of taurine. And taurine can help with focus, especially when paired with caffeine, because there's decent evidence to suggest that it can reduce the sort of jitteriness and lack of focus that can accompany a big hit of caffeine. It also could potentially help with recovery and reducing muscle cramps because it appears to draw more water and minerals into the cells. That's a potential effect you can look forward to. There's also some tyrosine, which also is said to help with focus and cognition. Now, a lot of the studies on tyrosine were more on people in like very, very stressed states, like army soldiers who've been on no sleep for a week sort of thing. But there are still some other studies that have found that it could help to improve cognition in just like very stressful workouts or just like when you're very hot. So that's another potential effect of tyrosine that I think is pretty cool. Besides that, they've got beta-alanine, 1 gram of beta-alanine, which is probably the most popular pre-workout ingredient besides caffeine. the beta-alanine, really strong link with endurance, and also with some strength workouts, like in the 10 to 15 rep range, produces a bit of a tingly sensation on the skin. Some people love it, some people don't like it so much. I do want to point out there's just 1 gram here, and most studies show that the effects come with like 1.6 to 4 grams. But anecdotally, 1 gram can still have an effect, and again, especially if you're at a lighter body weight, it might not be such a big deal. Then there's also citrulline malate, another very, very popular workout ingredient. It is said to improve circulation and blood flow, which is actually one reason why it's pretty common in erectile dysfunction supplements. It's also in a ton of pre-workouts, helps with blood flow, may help with power output, may help with endurance as well. I do want to point out that there's 2 grams of citrulline malate here, and most of the studies that have shown an effect show with 6 to 8 grams is worth pointing out. But again, I'm sure it's going to have some mild effect at these lower doses anyway. Again, especially if you're on the smaller side. There are also a few B vitamins in this. There's B6, B12, and pantothenic acid. So the idea with B vitamins is that they help to support nerve function, muscle function, stuff like that. Now, it's not really going to be something you need to supplement with, especially right before a workout, unless you're deficient, and not many people are deficient in B vitamins. They're pretty easy to get. Although, unless you're pretty low on animal-based products, that kind of stuff, you might be a bit low on B12. It's possible. But yeah, B vitamins, they're often included because of this effect they're meant to have on nerve function. But again, unless you're deficient, it's not that important. Finally, there are these 3 very unusual ingredients here. These are the ingredients that really leapt off the ingredients label to me, the ones that I really need to do a lot of reading on. So we got 3 of them. The first is EnXtra, which is a mixture of plant extracts, and there is some limited research to suggest that it helps to increase mental alertness after taking caffeine. So this is where that whole focus on reducing the crash associated with caffeine is meant to be about. So you take this, they say this is going to help to keep you alert for 4 to 5 hours. The emphasis is more on focus and cognition than being very alert and stimulated. Nonetheless, it does make me feel like it might not be the best idea for nighttime workouts. That's just what I'm getting from the ingredients. Besides that, there's also OxyJun, which is a type of bark extract that some limited studies, again, all these are kind of experimental ingredients, but there are still some small promising studies that have found that OxyJun, this bark extract, could potentially help to improve oxygen uptake, like VO2 max, by between 3 and 5%, which is that's pretty significant, especially if you're an athlete. That's something you do want to think about. Then finally, there's something called RedNite, which is a beetroot extract. So beets are very closely associated with natural pre-workouts, and that's because they contain quite a lot of nitrates, which may help to improve your nitric oxide. Now, people are always scared of nitrates when they're in bacon and stuff, but when they're in beets, everyone really loves them and goes crazy for them. This particular type of beet extract, RedNite, is much more concentrated with nitrate. They say it has 5 times more than your regular beetroot extract. And nitric oxide, that can have a marked effect on your endurance and your power output and blood flow and all these sorts of things as well. So again, these 3 ingredients, pretty experimental. I don't want to oversell them because while some studies are promising, there's really only been 1 or 2 for each of them. But nonetheless, if you're into experimenting with unusual ingredients, this could be for you. And in any case, it's got all that beta-alanine and citrulline and caffeine and tyrosine and taurine, which are all the most popular pre-workout ingredients as well. So this is sort of a balance of the old stalwarts, the classic pre-workout ingredients, plus some interesting new ones. All right, I'm just pausing this super quickly to let you know that we would really love to give you a $200 Amazon gift card because every single month, Barbend gives one out to one of our lucky YouTube viewers like you. So all you have to do to enter is just comment and subscribe, and that is absolutely it. That's all you have to do. So get commenting and get subscribing, and let's get back to the video. So one of these little bottles here has 25 servings, and you can normally pick it up for between $40 and $50 or so. So that comes to roughly between $1.50 and $2 per scoop. So that is on the pricier side for a pre-workout. Generally speaking, they typically cost between 80 cents and $1 per scoop. There are a couple of interesting things about this though. Number one, it's free shipping worldwide, which is pretty cool and kind of necessary if they want to cultivate an American market because this is an England-based supplement company. They also really like it when you buy in bulk. So if you get 2 or 3 or 4 bottles at a time, the price can drop pretty significantly down to closer to $1.20-ish per scoop. Plus, there are all these pretty unusual ingredients in here, so you may find that price worth it. All right, so why should you think about getting some Powher for your next workout? Well, it has a very wide variety of ingredients, much wider than I would normally see in a pre-workout. They've got the big classic ones, the beta-alanine, the caffeine, the tyrosine, the taurine. Those are the ones with the most evidence behind them, the ones you're most likely to see in pre-workouts. And if a pre-workout doesn't have any of those, I'm usually pretty skeptical. This has those ingredients, plus it has those more experimental ingredients if you want to like try out some stuff that doesn't have a lot of evidence supporting it, but it could nonetheless give you an edge. So I think it's a really good balance of traditional and novel in that respect when it comes to pre-workouts. There's also a really wide variety of effects as well. So there's stuff for power, stuff for endurance, and a lot of stuff for focus. Indeed, this has a very unusual emphasis on ingredients for focus. That's gonna be really good for a lot of people, especially those who do a lot of like long workouts that require a lot of focus. We can get like very mentally fatigued throughout it. I also think it's pretty tasty. There's also, finally, the fact that this has just 100 milligrams of caffeine. As I mentioned, when looking at women's pre-workouts, probably the most common factor you see among them is that they're not crazy high in caffeine. With 100 milligrams, I think that's going to be enough to provide a pretty decent dose without being too overwhelming, but of course that depends on your own sensitivities. I did have a few complaints with this product though that I want to tell you about. It does not tell you how many calories it contains. It's probably 0, but I would have liked them to put that on there, and it's going to be annoying to you if you're someone who really rigorously tracks their calorie intake. Another thing is that this is relatively expensive, again, between like $1.50 and $2 per serving. Definitely on the pricier side as far as pre-workouts go. Another thing is this contains sucralose, the artificial sweetener also called Splenda. I am not at all for a second saying artificial sweeteners are bad for you, but certainly I can't deny there are plenty of people out there that just try to minimize them in their diet. So if that's you, you're gonna find that pretty annoying. There is also limited evidence for the effectiveness of some of these more experimental ingredients like the EnXtra, the OxyJun, the RedNite, stuff like that. There are definitely a couple of like small studies showing effectiveness, but you're not going to find any like leading figureheads in the sports nutrition world like talking about how great they are for you. So, you know, that's not a huge deal because this does still have a lot of those other ingredients that are more standard in pre-workouts. But my biggest complaint about this product is that some of them seem to be a little bit underdosed. Like beta-alanine, there's 1 gram here. Pretty much every study says that the effects are going to kick in at 1.6 grams, although to be fair, that probably depends on your body weight a bit. I think citrulline is the main offender there. There are 2 grams here. And even on Powher's own website, when they talk about the effectiveness of citrulline, they link out to studies, and all those studies show the effects really are only seen at doses of like 6 to 8 grams, maybe more. And this is 2 grams here. So I think it was a little bit underdosed in some respects, and I would have liked a tiny bit more transparency with the labeling. All right, so those are my thoughts on the very unusual female-focused pre-workout that Powher sent to us. If you want to see where it landed on my full list of the best pre-workouts on the market, just make sure you Google that with Barbend plus best pre-workouts. Now I'm going to finish this pink lemonade.